host Caravan Gaming. Welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms video, and as you guys can tell from the title already, today we have something a little different from the usual content. Today we are going to be looking at the zeroing of the ex-king of Kingdom 1430, and that is Bells. So long-time viewers of the channel would probably know that I used to be part of this kingdom. In fact, I was one of the R4/R5s of the main alliances inside of this kingdom. So I was part of kingdom leadership and I have worked with this person before. So I do know exactly what is going on and what has happened ever since I left. Also, shout out to my friends who are still in that kingdom for letting me know about the zeroing that they are going to do today, and also all of the stuff that happened that led up to this. So the footage that you guys are seeing is actually a double rally being conducted by the main bulk of Kingdom 1430's current fighting force, and that is Mo from the Korean side with his Attila Takeda rally, and Liang Tae from the Singaporean side with his Ramses YSG rally. Okay, so now let me give you a little history lesson on this player in general. So Bells has been a long time player inside of Kingdom 1430. She ascended to leadership somewhere in KVK Season 2, I would say around the start of KVK Season 2, and has been part of leadership all the way up till now. Alright, Kingdom 1430 is currently in its 4th KVK now, Light and Dark KVK, and she used to be a pretty okay leader. I would say not the best, but definitely not the worst either. She does do her duties most of the time properly, but the biggest con, I would say, for her is that she is someone who cannot differentiate personal relations and work. What do I mean by this? I mean, if you are someone who will suck up to her, then she is going to speak up for you no matter what. And I'm going to recall this one incident that happened just before I left. So there's this player, let's just name this player A. So player A was a leecher and non-contributor in our previous KVK, so wanted to chase the person out of the kingdom. On top of that, player A also broke kingdom rules multiple times by burning farm cities during kill event. So we went ahead to zero this player A, and player A went to talk to Bells and basically sucking up to her, and Bells spoke up for her inside leadership chat, and Bells actually wanted her back, even wanted to give her a place in the main alliance to give her a second chance. But from the drama that player A actually said on Kingdom chat, player A was not at all repentant. All the leaders didn't really accept it, and in the end player A migrated. This is just one of the many examples that shows that Bells cannot differentiate personal relations and work. Onto the bad side of Bells, then she is sure to make your life inside of Kingdom 1430 a living hell. Multiple players after our previous KVK, the non-contributors, most of them were repentant when we wanted to drop power. They deleted their sieges immediately, something which Bells still hasn't done up to this day because we wanted to drop our kingdom power, just saying. Okay, they showed remorse and they were basically keen to change. They promised to contribute the next KVK, but Bells would not give them a second chance just because she didn't like them. There was also the case whereby she had a negative title put onto this certain player, let's just call this player B, and she basically refused to remove the negative title and basically didn't allow anyone to remove the negative title despite requests from other fellow members of leadership. This shows that 1, she did not respect her other fellow members who were in leadership, and 2, she was also not willing to give second chances to people who showed remorse just because she didn't like them. In fact, she would rather give second chances to people who sucked up to her, which made absolutely no sense. And keep in mind, these players that I'm talking about, they are not sucking up to me or other members of leadership and being rude to her on purpose. It's just that because of her own personal agenda, her own personal feuds with them, she didn't like them, and that was and she actually has multiple feuds with multiple people inside the kingdom just because she didn't like a certain way that they were doing something, or just because she was oversensitive over very small issues. Were actually very small issues and probably not enough reason to warrant zeroing her, but things really only started to sour recently. In fact, it was just last week. Okay, so the whole thing first started when she actually signed up for Arc of Osiris the previous season and actually did not show up. Now, we fully understand that if you cannot show up for Arc of Osiris because of some real life reasons, it is totally fine, but at least have the decency and basic responsibility to go ahead and inform someone or inform the person planning the Arc, because planning Arc every 2 weeks is a thankless job and it is a very, very difficult job. You have to plan for the strategy, you have to take into account everybody's commanders, everybody's marchers, to make sure we win the Arc. And even though it's not an Osiris League match, but the difference between an Arc win and an Arc loss is huge, because you're talking about 1000 gems, 5 gold hits, and multiple hours of speed up, something which actually means a lot to people who are not heavy spenders. Okay, she did give a reason afterwards, but being part of leadership, it would be better if you actually took more responsibility and had the decency to inform people beforehand and not after when they question you. Okay, so that was not the end of it actually. So she was pretty pissed off because after the incident, the Arc planner, being the fair guy that he is, decided to leave her out of this week's Arc, which makes perfect sense, because if you were a no-show for the previous Arc and did not give a reason beforehand, then obviously you'll be taken out of this week's Arc. Just to be fair, it doesn't matter whether you are part of leadership or not. It is just basic responsibility to go ahead and inform your leaders or your Arc planners to that you are unable to make it for the match, but she did not do so. What's even worse is that she was part of leadership, so she knows exactly how hard it is to plan Arc matches every week, and clearly not setting a very good example to the rest of the Alliance or the Kingdom in general. Afterwards, she was kind of pissed off that she wasn't included in this week's Arc, and she was unwilling to pass over the R5 position to any of the other kingdom leaders. Now, being in KVK, it is even more important that you pass on your R5 and R4 positions to whoever is online. It should always be constantly rotated among people who are online, and no single person should be holding on to it unless that person can just be online for 24 hours, 7 days a week, which is literally impossible. That is why you need to have a rotational basis and have different people holding on to the R4 and R5 positions, so you always have someone there to accept people into the alliance, to remove people to make slots for others during times like ruins, to build flags, to demolish alliance fortress or whatever, all that kind of stuff, you know. And she basically not only ignored the messages of the other kingdom leaders who asked her to pass on the leadership, but it's basically radio silence from her for a few days now. Okay, not really sure what the reason is behind it, but there really is no good reason to hold on to R5, especially if you know you're going to be busy for a few days. That's completely fine, but at least, you know, pass it on to someone who can be online, or at least reply so that people know what exactly is going on. So because of this, we basically decided that okay, the alliance is sort of a lost cause. It is a shame that she is holding the R5 of the main alliance, but you know, they do have backup plans, and they are already starting to move to a backup alliance because she doesn't seem to want to pass on the leadership to someone else, and we can't have a leader who is constantly not online, especially during KVK. And that is why the entire kingdom decided to go ahead and zero her. So the actual king of Kingdom 1430, the person who was king even before she was in the kingdom, basically sent out a mail saying that okay, this alliance is lost because you know, shit happens in leadership. It doesn't matter what kingdom you're in, every kingdom has its fair share of problems, and this is not just a problem that 1430 encountered. Many other kingdoms encountered the same problem. In fact, JWM, a more well-known kingdom, Kingdom 1059, recently also had a similar problem whereby a squad of Singaporeans, they called themselves SEAL Team 6, actually went ahead to zero one of the kingdom's leaders, JWM Faye, for those of you guys who know, because Faye was basically a tyrant, and that is quite similar to how this person, Bells, is actually behaving. Faye 2.0, I don't really know, but add on to the fact that almost every single active person online at that time joined in the, whether it's the rally or it's the looting, really speaks volumes about how she's basically hated inside of this kingdom. She basically had it coming, and that is it for this video and this short story. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you think she deserved it, or do you think otherwise? And hope you guys enjoy the rest of this footage. If you like this content, be sure to subscribe to this channel and give this video a thumbs up. Till the next time, I'm your host, Korriban Gaming. Peace out.